Indiana Jones, Indiana. It's a podcast about Indiana Jones. Every movie, 1 minute at a time. Indiana Jones, Indiana Jones Minute.
Welcome back to the Indiana Jones Minute. This is the podcast where we discuss Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, one weirdly magnetic minute at a time. I'm Pete Mummert.
I'm Tom Taylor.
I'm the intern, Jerry Porter.
And I'm the chaplain, Father David Mowry.
Hey! Welcome back, Father David.
Thanks so much for having me back. I had to catch up with you. You turned a corner at that crate up there, and I got turned around a little bit. But
It's
found
very
the
easy
group.
to get lost in here.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh! There's no markers, no signage whatsoever.
Just
You're
throw
writing
up
a
the
very
kombucha.
strongly worded letter to the management.
If
I want to get all the way to the top men.
Throw a couple chino slacks and crew neck T-shirts around this place. Looks like a banana republic.
Yeah.
Today we're talking about minute 11. And minute 11 begins with Indy embracing his banister sliding days from the curse of the jackal. And it ends with Russian soldiers pulling out a wooden crate that reads "Keep off." And as you could probably tell from that, Tom, I'm often pretty hard on you when it comes to things like fires and fun.
It's okay.
But I love you, Tom, and I want you to know that I'm not always completely filled with happiness and joy and innocent wonder. And I hate Indy tossing his hat back to Dovchenko. That is just over the top, too much whimsy for me.
It's a little... first let me say, Pete, thank you. There's hope for you yet. We're finally wearing you down this season. I shouldn't enjoy it as much as I am, but I am. And yeah, it's a little bit, I guess I see what they're going for. Like, oh, Indy's in charge. He's cocksure and he's, he'll toss the hat back if he feels like it kind of thing. But yeah, it comes off as a little, it's too much. Why isn't anyone shooting Indiana Jones right here?
It's almost like the beginning of a musical number. And the guy with the pliers, is very theatrical. The way it's like a mime handing over pliers.
You can hear the bum 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 ba-dum, bum bum bum.
He just ruined it so bad. Kicking off a musical. Wow.
And as you mentioned last time, Pete, he puts his hat back on that's just been full of gunpowder and pellets and everything. He doesn't dust it out or turn it inside out or anything. He just puts it right on his head and that's got to itch.
That's what a man's man does, I guess.
I guess so.
Yeah, I they bust into that up tempo number.
Yeah. I have a question for our guest, Father David.
Yes, Tom. What is it?
Why do bad things happen to good people? No, seriously. Why? What is your read? We haven't gotten to talk with you yet about Mac. What is your read on Mac? Indy's faithful buddy.
As we've seen him so far.
I was thinking, we should. You can answer that either way you want. Either what you know about him from the whole movie or what we've seen so far.
Yeah, as we've seen him so far, I don't like new Sala. I want old Sala back. He seems very doddering in a way that's just not charming at all. It's like you took the worst aspects of Sala and the worst aspects of Brody from Last Crusade and mashed them together.
Wow. Interesting.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah. And he's useless. he's so useless, and he's just kind of walking around. He's just part of the crowd. As we discover things about his character later, I don't know why he doesn't reveal where he stands earlier. Before he's put in the back of a trunk and driven from Mexico to Nevada.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a good point. Because he doesn't know at what point these, people might kill him.
Right.
Especially when dealing with Indy. Like, for instance, if Indy decides to toy with her Dr. Jones, is Mac gonna get shot?
Right.
So
If he
Right.
decides
You
to be
think-
flippant
I don't
with
know.
Comrade Scrumchum and throw his hat back to him.
Right.
So you think they don't know who he is? You think that the Russians don't know who Mac is at this point?
Well, certainly not acting like they know who he is.
Yeah.
Well, I
That's
will say
tough.
no one is holding a gun on him right now.
Yeah.
Everybody's got a gun, but nobody's watching Mac. Mac's just sort of walking around freely
Yeah.
right now,
Mm.
which sort of makes me think that they do. I mean, I do think that they know.
I think Arena. I think Spalko does.
Yeah.
Although it could also be like Father David said, he's no threat to anybody.
I mean, really, honestly, at the end of the day, it does not matter. Yeah.
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 Okay.
Yeah.
You whatever side you want to be, Mac. It's okay.
Yeah.
Could you go get something out of the microwave?
Yeah.
know?
Be so peaceful.
Yeah. Is Indy sporting the satchel from Temple of Doom? Like, is that his bag? I mean, he's got his bag on. He's got his bag on his hip here. He kind of, he climbs up the boxes there. And so is that the actual bag that held the Sankara stones?
Oh, like did he get it sewn up?
I forget what
That's
we
what I'm
decided
wondering.
in
Did he
Temple
get
of
it?
Doom.
Yeah.
Did we?
It's been
somebody
20
rewind.
years. Surely he would get a new bag by now.
Yeah, even if it hadn't had a hole burned through it, he probably would have, lost it, or the strap would have broken or something. Or
Right, this is
He's
Indiana
still got the
Jones we're
rest of the
talking about. He
outfit,
gets
though.
in adventures every afternoon, so he
Yeah.
can go through satchels like I go through tissues.
yeah.
He just
I think he's like me. Like I open my closet and everything's a black shirt. I think like Indy opens his closet and everything's the same hat and the same shirt and the same satchel.
Yeah.
He's got like
Yeah,
30
yeah.
satchels identical.
Yeah.
I can't remember if we discussed this, but I actually looked that up, which of course you can go to indiegear.com.
Hey.
Now I know what to get.
Proud
John
sponsor
Brugan
of the
for
Indiana
his,
Jones Minute.
Yeah, it's where John Brugan gets all of his, all
Yeah.
of his, just everything. But yeah, apparently that was a World War II, a British gas mask bag called a Mark 7. And
Oh, really?
actually, the bag that caught fire with the Sankara stones was technically a Mark 6.
I was
But,
going to say Mark 6.
The satchel is indeed anachronistic for the first 3 movies because it
No.
was manufactured.
Yeah, if it was a World
in-
War II. Yeah.
Yeah, 1941. So,
Wow.
He was on the cutting
Yeah.
edge of fashion.
yes,
He knew
there
the
it
trends
is.
before they
So,
happened.
we may have even discussed that, whatever it was 2 years ago or something.
I'm
but
trying to remember
it came up.
if. Remember, he was hanging from the bag strap on the tank in Last Crusade. I forget how he got
Yes.
out of that, and if the bag broke, and if he still had it later in the movie.
Oh yeah, I don't remember.
Yeah.
Everybody hates us.
I mean,
now.
it's still I know it's still prominently featured here.
Yeah.
You know what?
Yeah.
I noticed like Irina looks very much like an admiral from Empire Strikes Back.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, it's just the color gray of her uniform. I don't
Mhm.
know. She very much like a Admiral Piet or
Mhm.
somebody like that. Yeah.
As Admiral Pete, I approve that.
yeah, exactly.
I think this is a nice scene with Indy standing on top of the boxes looking down.
There's some really
It
great
looked-
shots.
Yeah.
He's
And
kind
he's
of
kind of in his element. He's like the explorers up there. He sees his domain.
Mm-hmm.
He's got
Yeah.
that halo around him in that shot as he's
Yeah.
dropping the
Yeah.
pellets. It's kind of angelic or something.
Yeah.
Well, it reminded me a little bit of the map room or something. Where you just go,
Oh,
okay,
yeah.
the way the stuff is shot,
Mhm.
or just the timbre to it. It's an Indiana Jones movie.
We are in the
certain-
grand
certain-
moment of discovery. And
Yes,
so everything, the
exactly.
music
Yeah.
builds,
Yeah.
the lighting gets very dramatic.
Mhm.
Yeah.
He's got the halo around him. He's standing right in front of the light.
He's got his
stuff.
pliers.
Everything's
How,
gonna be
how do you
all
have
right.
pliers but no compass? I'm sorry, I can't get over the fact they have no compass. But somebody has pliers, for crying out loud.
That's why that guy was so excited. He handed him in that very like theatrical, dancey manner because he's like, "I have pliers."
I
No
brought
one's
these
ever
all
asked you
from
for
Kiev.
pliers. I felt bad about not having a
Knew these
compass,
was
but I
coming
am
handy.
useful. Yeah, I mean, okay, so we've got pliers here, and we don't have a compass, but we have all these balls are falling, and they're all magnetized to some mysterious crate underneath all these other crates.
Mhm.
And this will happen more in like later minutes and stuff. But and we said last time the magnetism in this whole sequence is a little fudgy. It's a little. I would think that more things would be freaking out more right now if they're like this close to the thing,
Yeah.
and we see later that
Yeah.
when they open a thing, everything's sticking to it automatically. Like, is the wood
And
of
it's gonna
the
get really
crate
weird
like
next
somehow
time.
interfering
Yeah.
with the magnetism? or
Right,
something?
it's
Well, see,
wood,
that's
yeah.
that's what it, or is it, so there's nothing else in this enormous warehouse that's metal.
Yeah.
But it's space magnetism, Jerry.
Yeah.
Space magnetism is different than Earth.
Yeah, it
magnetism.
gets
Beyond our
it,
ken.
it picks and chooses, like maybe sabers, but I don't know.
Yeah, that's why the lightsaber doesn't go off into infinity. They got their own special physics.
I was surprised at how many pieces of buckshot were inside these shells. Because it seemed like a lot
Yeah.
to me.
Oh,
They
yeah.
also seemed humongous. They seemed like ball bearings rather than pieces
Yeah.
of buckshot. So I decided to do just a little bit of research about it. And first, it turns out that combat shotguns have really big pieces of buckshot. They're about a third of an inch in diameter.
Wow.
Which is
Oh man.
huge. That's going to do some major damage. But normally you have 9 or so pieces of buckshot in a single shell, and you have a lot of padding inside the shell itself to keep them from rattling around and to keep the shotgun spread being focused and tight. So to have just this cartridge just full of ball bearings, again, this is the Soviet Union. What are you going to do? The standards aren't the same as they are in the capitalist West. You just kind of cram ball bearings into a shell, I guess, and call that good.
Can you imagine if they won the kind of shotgun shells we would have now? Oh my god.
Well, maybe the Bucks are just so big in Siberia.
Yeah.
Did soldiers ever actually have shotguns? Like, is there a reason a soldier would be carrying a shotgun on this mission?
Yeah, combat shotgun. That's kind of crazy.
I don't, for some reason, I think there's always.
There
I
are
don't
there
know
have been
what I'm talking
combat
about.
shotguns
Yeah,
ever since there've been shotguns, because they're good for close quarter fighting, and they're
Yeah,
also
I-
good in
like-
urban environments. You've ever come on, you have the
Right.
shotgun used on a locked door. It's able to deliver more percussive
okay.
force than a simple
Oh,
rifle
uh-huh.
can.
I always feel like for house to house or door to door style raids or combat. Exactly, there is a guy who has one of those, and he's usually a little bit fatter than the other soldiers.
He's stocky,
And he's-
Jerry. He's
he's
got
like-
some girth to carry that thing.
He's usually the guy who's like the shotgun guy. He's got a little more heft, and he's a little saucier. He has he's got he's a little sardonic.
And I
And
call him Moose. Get Moose up here with the shotgun.
Exactly. Bear.
Yeah. Hey, Bear. What happened to Moose?
Oh, he was right behind me.
I was saying last time that I'm going to correct myself. I was saying last time that they shouldn't have gotten rid of all the people who actually worked here, and then they could actually find things more easily. But I don't know if that's true, because we have evidence in this minute of how lackadaisical and how impossible it would be under the best of circumstances to find something in this place. Spalko is looking, peering to where the balls went, and we see 2 crates next to each other, and they both have the identical serial number.
Oh no!
Really?
Yeah, 2 separate crates with the exact same 208630.
But
So you're
hold
like, well,
on. What if
how is now? What kind of filing
what if
system is this?
what if it's the same thing just housed in different crates? Like what if it's part of
Yeah,
one?
but then you
Yeah.
got an A and a
That's-
B or something, or a point.
No,
2
that's the
or-
first. That's the first thing the government cloned.
Oh, okay.
Oh, wow.
But then even then, wouldn't you want to know which one was the original and which one was the clone?
You know what? I don't
You
understand.
also, they're obviously not taking very good care of the place because it's got their cobwebs everywhere.
Yeah.
Well, why does it every crate says this end up?
Yeah.
Because
So
you
I'm-
want to
I'm-
put the
I'm
right
so-
end up. I mean, we're dealing with all kinds of stuff here. You want to put the Ark of the Covenant upside down? Think
But-
the
Oh,
Lord
that's
God
a very
Almighty is
good
going to be
point.
really
Yeah.
keen on that.
That I kind of understand, and that's fine. But this one here that they find just says "keep off." So you're
Right,
like,
I know.
Which
so
means-
don't sit on it.
That's what I
Yeah.
love. So someone was either standing or sitting on this box.
Yeah.
And
We
someone,
gotta nip that in the
okay,
bud
get
right
the
now.
stencil. The keep off one. Yeah, because Johnson sat on it again, and we had to pry him off. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Get
yeah.
out the "this means you" one too, just in case. Just there's always gonna
Yeah.
be some joker.
Exactly.
Yeah, they didn't
yeah.
want anyone with all their metal just getting effectively welded to the box.
Yeah, that's a
They
loss.
wanted everyone to keep off it.
Well, I feel like, so name one other thing in here. It's not metal. They have ends that go up and occasionally some keep offs. Name something else in here.
Oh,
What do you
I
mean?
would guess maybe some military surplus. Maybe some shells or bombs from fighters. I mean, this is an Air Force base or an Area 51, so maybe there's some live ordnance that needs to get stored the proper way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I think they have like Captain America's shield.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I think.
Yeah.
Wonder
The Nixon
Woman's
tapes.
invisible plane.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
kids and your comic books.
God, I just thought of something horrible. What if somebody had stored a bunch of magnetic tape right next to this crate, and now it's just useless, it's just wiped? We got all those back honeymooners episodes. Oh no, we don't.
Well, one thing several people have brought up how small is, there's like 6 people that work here. And I'm curious, is that not normally the case? Like, did the Russians know that this test is about to take place so that they show up when they know there's not going to be anyone manning the booth? Not going to be anybody like watching the shop, or is this just a complete chance that they're here at this time?
Well, I hadn't thought of that. That
It's
actually
weird. Where are they? Where is
Although
that?
if you're then there's no way the army in 1957 is going to evacuate people, but not their most priceless artifacts. Like, they're going to do the exact opposite.
That does seem a little weird.
So
You know, it's
it
where,
doesn't make sense that
where
they
is
would evacuate it.
this communist convoy coming from? They're just on the road, but where was their point of origin?
It was Mexico, wasn't it? Where they picked up Indy and Mac?
Yeah, see, they slipped right across the border.
Yeah.
That's a long drive.
Yeah.
Well, especially if they were because in the book they're in the Yucatan.
Oh, okay.
So I mean that's like probably a 40-hour, 30-hour drive.
They brought snacks.
So how did they? Okay, so they picked them. All right, I'm just trying to go where they're coming from. They know what's in the crate. Irina knows what's in this crate. She's looking for it. She knows that Indy was part of some project, and then we're gonna go to Mexico and ambush them, and then we're gonna drive to Area. We're gonna drive to Area 51.
Well, maybe they flew
there's
to New Mexico or something.
Yeah.
Okay,
You would have to do so because you would die if you were in a trunk in the Yucatan, like if a
That's
metal
true.
car. You would
Yeah.
die.
That's
literally.
true. That's true.
Although, how are you gonna fly this entire group of armed Russians over the border?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure
yeah.
how any of this works out.
I wonder if, like, at all times, whenever Indy's traveling, even in a trunk, there's a blue map somewhere. It's just following, dun, 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 dun,
Yeah.
dun, 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 dun. No matter what he's doing.
That's what Indy does to keep himself
Maybe-
sane on those long trips. It's a window into
That's
his inner mind palace.
He traces with his finger where he is. And his grandma's house. And that's where I went to
The hood of the
school.
trunk.
What's he doing? Just leave him be.
Well, I spoke again with our resident Russian, George the Russian of Ventura Music, where of course you can get all your fine vintage drum sets and Russian translation needs. And he was he was kind enough to translate the Russian for me that's in this minute. It is, everybody come over here, start the cars, move, move, move. And then when it comes to the box, he says, let's lift it up. Do it. Do it.
Good idea.
Yeah. And my favorite thing when I asked him to translate this thing, he's like, you again. No, but when I asked him, he goes, well, here's the thing. He goes, you can't translate it word for word. Like, you can't take the literal word. It won't make sense. So he kind of listens to it a few times, and then he's like, do it, do it, do it. Or no, maybe it's more like hurry, hurry. It's like hurry, hurry, move.
Like, what does she
You see this-
specifically say? When she's the first one to yell out in Russian. What does she actually say?
I swear to God, that's the one word I didn't ask.
Because it does
I
seem
don't
like
know
all
what
they're
she
yelling is, "Hey, let's
Yeah.
pick this up," or "Somebody grab
Yeah.
this thing." But they're saying it as though like something amazing just happened or something, or there's some vital,
Yeah.
immediate thing that has to happen.
Yeah, best I can
But
figure
really,
from
it's just like, you
context,
need two
Fran, would you-
guys.
she says something like, "It's here, this is it," or something like that.
Yeah.
It sounds like it's a lot of like quickly or attention or move it or get him ready. Yeah.
But when you say all these things in translation, it really does sound like a musical number. Like someone's
Yeah.
like, do it, hurry up, do it. Like they're all going to
Do
break
it,
into song
do
in
it.
a minute.
Hurry up, hurry up.
It starts with the hat toss, and then the chorus of the Russian soldiers comes in, doing some step touches in the background.
Pliers. It starts with the whispering of pliers. Pliers.
An Area 51 story.
Indy needs some pliers.
Oh my God. All right.
We do get a nice shot here, and I know you won't like this, Tom. I started on your good side.
I love
I'm
it when
already
you
moving
say
on
that
your
because
bad
I'm
side.
like, wait, what if I don't actually hate it? What if I'm fine with it?
No, you might like
All
it,
right.
but you complained about this on our weekend show about Close Encounters.
Oh.
But we get a shot where Spalko's they pull a crate out, and you just see Spalko's face looking into the spot, and it's one of these classic Spielberg moments. And I think we get a lot of these where she sees something wondrous, but we don't know what she sees yet, and it kind of heightens our tension and expectation.
Right. See, this is perfect. I don't hate that at all.
Oh,
I kind of like
That's
that.
a great. That's an amazing
nice.
shot. She's perfectly
It is good.
placed and beautifully
Yeah.
framed.
yeah.
Like, yeah.
There are a lot of very, like we had one last minute, just very like textbook Spielberg kind of cuts or shots.
Mhm.
Like the shot last minute where, do you want my help or not? And they cut right to, oh, I guess they wanted his help because the guy's filling up the thing with gunpowder and stuff, and just kind of slowly pulling
Yeah.
back from that. Just like it's kind of quick sort of shots answering each other or something. And then this shot of her looking through the thing. That's standard. Something neat just happened kind of shot.
Because you learn a lot about her character without her needing to say a lot in these minutes, because you get a sense of her drive, her dedication, her intense focus on this one
Mhm.
mission.
Yeah. Well,
Mhm.
so talking about like sort of these beautiful Spielberg shots, is that, this is for you, Father David, question here. Is that sweet in this movie, or is it bittersweet?
Sweet or bittersweet?
That's the third act.
Say more about why it might be bittersweet. I don't
Well, I'm
quite
saying,
follow.
like Tommy was saying earlier, one of the, we notice all these, either John Williams scores, or there's these moments that remind us it's Indiana Jones. There's imagery, there's great shots, there's very distinctive Spielberg moments that are magical. But then you have this movie.
Oh, I see.
Crystal Skull. Yeah, then we have Crystal Skull, and I know I'm getting a little ahead here. But does it remind you, Father David, much like it does Tommy? I could be watching something else, something much better.
I mean,
Or is it nice? Is it like, oh, it's Steven Spielberg? It's so
at this point in the movie, I would say the first, I don't know, maybe 30, 40 minutes of this movie, it's nice. It's a Spielberg picture. It's got very creative shot composition. It's got good direction. He knows what to do with the characters. He knows how to keep moving the scene forward. I mean, the one of the things that makes a bad movie is bad pacing, and that's not something Spielberg has ever had a problem with. That's what makes him so good. When I watched this movie for the first time, I was shocked when I looked at the timestamp and realized, oh, it's been 45 minutes already. This thing just keeps moving right along. So part of that is just a testament to Spielberg's craft as a filmmaker. He just knows how to make a good movie. And whether it's Indiana Jones or it's Jurassic Park or even in War of the Worlds, he knows how to shoot the scenes for that emotional impact. Now, I think having something that good on top of material that doesn't quite rise to the level worthy of it, that's not what you would want to see. You would want to see Spielberg using those talents on something really worthy of his efforts. And this movie just doesn't quite live up to that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Although I agree with what you said, Father David, but I think I want to attack Jerry a little bit
Okay.
too.
Okay, I'll get my popcorn. Hold on.
Exactly.
All right, I'm ready.
Move over.
No, I don't think I'm ready to classify this as a bad movie. Like, I know a lot of people automatic, like kind of knee-jerk reactions, this is a bad movie.
Sure.
But I am so far on board with this movie and having a lot of fun with it. And I think maybe after we watch this whole thing, it might not be a bad movie. It might not live up to Raiders. It might not live up to, even the other two Indiana Jones movies, but I'm not willing to concede that this is a bad movie yet.
Oh, there's a lot of this movie I like. I was thinking, these minutes we're doing with Father David, I like these minutes.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say Kingdom of the Crystal Skull is a bad movie either. I mean, I'm a huge fan of Mystery Science Theater, and watching those episodes taught me, these are what bad movies look like. I understand.
Yeah.
So that lowers the bar considerably that a movie has to clear in order to, just to be competent. And it's Steven Spielberg, working with really talented people, working with really great crew, and it's a fine movie. It's enjoyable as far as it goes. I kind of almost wish it wasn't an Indiana Jones movie. Then I probably would like it more.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I keep wondering that, like, if this didn't have to live up to the previous three movies, if people would have enjoyed this a lot more as just a movie.
Like if you gotten, like, I don't know, Brendan Fraser, just for instance, to play the lead in this movie and set it in like the Mummy universe, that would probably make a lot of this kind of some of the goofiness and some of the slapstick moments in this movie feel more in line with what the whole movie is about. It make it feel like more of a piece. It's just got these really great moments. We've got these, these great shots and all these characters and Indiana Jones. You got great interaction, and then you get something that just kind of just poops in the middle of all this greatness. Like, that wasn't great. I wish that didn't have to be there. It's like, the street sweeper who comes after the horses in the 4th of July parade. Like, the 4th of July parade is really great. I just wish I didn't have to be reminded of the reality of these horses in the middle of it. Is there any way that we could have hid that a little bit better? I don't know.
Yeah, I think a lot of the problem with this movie is it has to live up to so much, and that's a really high bar to cross.
And it does feel a little like we're just sort of saying, kind of in different words, kind of Spielberg light-ish. Like there's throw Spielberg shot 393 up there. And,
yeah,
a little bit. There are a lot of it's not
Spielberg
as inspired in
hits.
any way.
Yeah. I definitely agree with that, actually.
When you quote yourself, is it plagiarism?
Right. Which must be hard for Steven Spielberg. That must be, kind of lousy to be him in a way. Yeah. Sure. Like, here, I'm trying to make a new movie, but everyone's saying that I was copying something I did before. I didn't do it as well, or,
Everybody being Tom Taylor.
Exactly. All those Tom Taylors are giving me a hard time. They won't just let me do my thing.
I'm looking at this shot of Irina Spalka. It's beautiful. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Great shot. There's a lot of that stuff in here and in these minutes.
Although to me, part of what makes this movie difficult is we have a new cinematographer, and it looks like Spielberg, but it doesn't look like the other three movies.
Now that is true, and this whole desert scene, indoor outdoor thing is really weird. That actually does look like you're in an IKEA. Yeah, in Schaumburg, Illinois. It's
That's
really strange.
No one thought that was a joke.
Yeah,
other than it not being funny. Yeah,
and just especially and when they're outside, it looks like you're inside the IKEA.
Yeah,
that's what's so weird about it. It's like a Thomas Kincaid painting or something.
Yeah, there's something a little claustrophobic about it. Gosh, I remember the time you and I were in Chagrin Falls, Ohio. You and me, Jerry. And we walked past some like little art studio, art gallery. And you're like, hey, wait, I want to go in here for a second. And there's like nobody in Jerry does this all the time. There'll be nobody in the store, but he'll walk in anyway. and I, as a sensitive person, feel the person perk up like, I'm going to make a sale. I have a customer. Oh no, this Joker just wants to talk to me about stuff. And Jerry walks in and he's talking to the guy from it. He's like, hey, can I ask you something? Do you think Thomas Kincaid is a hack? And like the guy had to talk to him about Thomas Kincaid for like 45 minutes. And I'm standing there like, Jared's not going to buy anything. He didn't come in here to buy a painting or a frame or see about getting something framed.
But you know what? Every time he does that, and that's a daily occurrence with Jerry. Every time he does that, when it first starts out, it makes me really anxious because I'm like, he's not going to buy anything. But every time, about a half hour into Jerry and the person talking, that person has had a much better day, a much nicer day than they would have
that
otherwise.
might be
in fact,
a good way
everybody
to think
has.
about it.
And I think that's everybody.
Nothing else. They
wins.
have a really great story about this random weirdo who walked in off the street and asked about Thomas Kincaid.
Yeah.
I had to think about Thomas Kincaid today. I wasn't expecting that when I woke up this morning.
Can't that guy read the crate? It says keep off.
Get off the crate, sir.
That's kind of you, Peter. I appreciate that. Well, and speaking of Chagrin Falls, Ohio.
Oh.
This just in from Professor Christy Porter, who knows where Chagrin Falls, Ohio is, and the popcorn store they're in.
Oh, yeah.
Another. I'm sorry to do this to you, Father David. You're on the hot spot again here.
It's my lot in life. We were made to suffer.
Question for Father David. As you know, St. Anthony is the patron saint of lost things.
True.
Have you ever encanted, Tony, look around, something's lost and must be found?
A classic of Catholic culture.
She swears it works. She swears it works.
St. Anthony does not fail. No, he is very good at finding those things. Now, I haven't done the research to see where that comes from, because one of the things that I loved about last season, Jerry, was all the patron saints that came marching in during the last crusade, and all the various patronages that they themselves had, the various things they were responsible for, or they warded against, and a lot of those come as a result of the saints having something in their personal life or their own biography that indicates that they have some affiliation or some propensity to helping those kinds of problems. You know, St. Francis, patron saint of animals, because he preached to the birds. St. Benedict, patron saint of servants who break their master's things, because he miraculously repaired a sieve that his housekeeper had broken, or things like that. So for St. Anthony, I haven't done the research into his biography to find out why he is the patron saint of lost things. But I agree with Professor Christy Porter. You ask him for help and he comes through every single time. Now the rhyming prayer I didn't learn until actually I was in seminary. And when one of my brother seminarians lost his car keys, and we were at this parish and everything had just gone wrong that day. We were behind schedule and he was the driver and we needed to get out of there and on to our next thing. And the keys were nowhere to be found. And so he just makes the sign of the cross. Tony, come around. Something's lost that can't be found. And I just look at him like he's got two heads. Well, I grew up in Catholic school. I was an altar boy. I never heard this before. It's like, is this guy for real right now? Is he rhyming? And we have lost the car keys. And then behind us, someone says, "Oh, I found them."
Wow.
So there you go.
There it is.
Yeah.
Not bad.
Well, she uses it so much that, like I said, she and St. Anthony are on the first name basis. The Tony business. So.
Yeah, St. Anthony didn't realize he would have the porters to contend with one day, I think.
You're hogging them for the rest of the human race.
That's a big one. You're in charge of, quote, finding everything.
He likes to stay busy.
Yeah. That's a little different than, like, patron saint of grenadiers. That guy works like, I don't know. He's got work to do. I get it. But it's a little different than finding everything for the, whatever it is, 1.2 billion Catholics in the world.
The patron saint of grenadiers was definitely on call during this scene in the warehouse. He was waiting. Okay, all right, lots of grenades, lots of gunpowder. Yeah, I'm right here. You need anything? Just give me a ride. It's just very simple. I'm ready.
I don't know why Indy didn't use that at the beginning of the minute. They can't find the they can't find the crate. Oh, yeah. Tony.
I think we've established that Indiana Jones isn't exactly what we would call a religious man.
Right.
Well, it's like he is at the very end of every movie, and then refresh.
It's just a different religion at the end of every movie.
Exactly.
Yeah. He's a Scientologist at the end of this one.
Well, speaking of religion, Father David, thank you very much for joining us again.
It's my pleasure. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, we love having you on. And is there any place you would like to point people? Any place you would like to send people?
Well, if you want to
Any
hear
parting
more
thoughts?
of my blatherings about various movies by minutes, you can go to start up a little website, fatherdavidmowry.com. That's FATHER, davidmowry.com. If you look in the podcast section of that, I've put together all the various episodes of movies by minutes shows that I've been on. You can find a couple episodes from a little show. You might have heard it, Indiana Jones Minute, where I talked about the Last Crusade, talked about Franciscan friars and Grail texts and all sorts of crusade historical and theological goodness. And then a bunch of other episodes in there if you're having trouble falling asleep and need something to help you nod off at night.
Oh, that's cool. I'm definitely checking that out. And not quite as cool, but check us out at indianajonesminute.com, where you can find links to all of our shows and our evidence that we are living in Han Solo's fever dream. And you can find our weekend show where Tom didn't like sort of the wonder shot, but he's come around. So this makes me happy. And hopefully we'll make all of you happy to come back here Friday for minute 12 of Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull here on the Indiana Jones Minute.
Tony, come around. Something's lost that's not been found.
Kincaid?
Tone